Hello and welcome back to yet another video on the Alejandro Hernandez podcast. These are going to be my official top 10 teams in the NFL after week 7. It was a very interesting week of football. We had the Indianapolis Colts make an official statement, if they haven't already this season, but really it was this Chargers game. They were underdogs and they blanked them. And Jonathan Taylor looked amazing once again. Daniel Jones once again performed in a big spot. So the Colts are going to have to rise significantly on my power ranking. The Chiefs also reinforced why they're the best team in the league this weekend, blanking the Raiders 31-0. And then the Lions also reinforced why I had them over Tampa Bay with a big statement win over the Bucs at home. So with all that being said, let's get straight into these power rankings. Coming in at number 10, I'm going to have the Buffalo Bills. They are my Super Bowl pick. However, right now, they're not playing like it. They're not playing like a Super Bowl contender right now, and the 9 teams I have above them are just playing way better football than the Bills, especially defensively. For me to even have the Bills back in the top 5, I need to see them make a move at the trade deadline. They need help defensively, and both in the run and against the pass. They don't have a shutdown corner, so whenever they play a top receiver, we're going to see them go against the Chiefs next weekend with Rashee Rice. We're going to see how they handle him, but I need to see the Bills. It's week 8. It is the trade deadline. I need to see them make a move. They have to make a move defensively if they want to be a Super Bowl contender this season. Right now, their defense is not good enough. And this week, they have a Carolina team who's coming off 3 straight wins, and Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard are both really good. And I need to see them shut down Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard for me to actually respect the Bills as a defensive team. I know that Josh Allen and the Bills offense are going to get it right. I need to see their defense improve for me to have them higher on this ranking. And at the moment, I don't even think they're the best team in their division. And coming in at number 9, I have the New England Patriots. I think the Patriots at 5-2, they're first place in the AFC East. We have to give them respect, and I am giving them respect. And they have played better football than the Bills so far this season, offensively and defensively. And they also beat them in their building. Drake May is playing like a top 5 quarterback right now. Given the inferior talent he has around him, it's really spectacular how well he's played. He's completing over 75% of his passes. He's just on a roll. He's on a roll, and the thing that I like about the Patriots is that they're handling the bad teams. The Patriots only won 4 games last season. They've already eclipsed that win total this season, and they're not tripping up against weak opponents. They're taking care of teams like the Saints and the Titans. And then early on in the season, they took care of, I believe, they lost to the Raiders and to Pittsburgh, but they took care of the Dolphins. They're taking care of these bad teams, and they're winning games that they're supposed to be winning. So give Mike Vrabel a lot of credit for that. They're still a young team. They had a ton of free agents come in, and obviously it took some time for them to blend. They started 1-2, but they're on a 4-game winning streak. They're playing excellent football. Give me the Patriots at number 9 ahead of the Buffalo Bills. I believe they are right now currently the best team in the division, and Drake May is playing like a top 5 quarterback. So give me the Patriots at number 9. Coming in at number 8, I'm going to have the Seattle Seahawks. They once again had a great defensive performance against the Houston Texans at home. They're also 5-2. I had the Seahawks making the playoffs this season, and they're playing great football. Jackson Smith-Njigba, probably I wouldn't say the biggest surprise of the season, but definitely one of the surprises of the season, as he leads the NFL in receiving yards, and he's currently on pace to break Calvin Johnson's record. So Jackson Smith-Njigba is playing like the best receiver in all of football right now. Sam Darnold has impressed in his first 7 games as a Seahawk. He's playing excellent football. The Seattle front office is definitely proud of their decision to move off Geno Smith, who's currently playing like the worst quarterback in football, and replacing him with Sam Darnold, who's younger, more talented, and playing at a way higher level. So that was definitely a plus move for Seattle. They have a 2-headed monster in the backfield with Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. They're getting good offensive line play on the defensive side. Mike McDonald has his defense playing lights out like a top 10 defense. So I love the Seattle team. I believe they are going to make the playoffs. And right now they're in contention for first place in the NFC West. But they have lost to the Niners. So I cannot have them above San Francisco. I'm going to have Seattle at 8 and San Francisco at number 7. I think the Niners, what they're doing is just unbelievable. With Kyle Shanahan and Robert Saleh, I think Kyle Shanahan is this year's coach of the year, and it's not close. I think the job that he's doing, given all these injuries, without his quarterback, without his top 3 receivers, without Kittle for a majority of the season, and then Christian McCaffrey just putting this team on his back. And I think the job on the defensive side of the ball is even more impressive on the offensive side of the ball. Robert Saleh is dealing without Fred Warner and Nick Bosa, by far his 2 best players on the defensive side of the ball. And they're getting nobodies. They're getting practice squad players. They're getting 6th and 7th round picks to play lights out for this team. So give credit to San Francisco. They have the easiest schedule in the NFL, but they are scratching wins. They are getting wins despite all these injuries. So you got to give that coaching staff credit. And I believe the Niners are a perfect example of why coaching matters in this league and why coaching is a main determinant factor on wins and losses. So the Niners are playing outstanding football right now. This week, I'm not entirely sure who they play this week, but I believe the Niners are favored, and they should be. And I believe right now, currently, they are first place in the NFC West, which is a remarkable feat. They've already beaten all three teams in the division: the Seahawks, the Rams, and the Cardinals. So the Niners deserve a lot of credit. I'm going to have them at number 7 ahead of Seattle. However, I cannot have them above the Rams. So give me the 49ers at number 7. Coming in at number 6, I'm going to have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because they did beat the Niners head-to-head. So I think Baker, I'm going to drop the Bucs 3 spots. I think that loss to the Lions was discouraging, and Baker Mayfield's performance was discouraging, given that the Lions had all their secondary weapons out with Brian Branch, Kirby Joseph, Terrion Arnold, and I believe the other corner was DJ Reed, all 4 of their starters out, and that Bucs could not take advantage. That injury to Mike Evans was absolutely devastating for that team, and they're going to be without Chris Godwin and Bucky Irving once again this week against the Saints, so that's a big loss. But overall, I think this Tampa team is going to be just fine, although they had those injuries, and they're going to be fine. They have the bye week coming up next week after they play the Saints. Hopefully, they should take care of business against the Saints and move on to 6-2, and they're still in a great spot. They've beaten some good teams. They've beaten Seattle. They've beaten the 49ers. They're in a good spot right now in the NFC. They should still be one of the top seeds in the NFC despite losing to Detroit. Detroit was far better than them. I had said that going into the game. I thought Detroit was going to win and cover, and they did just that. And I think Tampa Bay is going to be just fine. They're going to get healthy after the bye. They're going to get Chris Godwin back. They're going to get Bucky Irving back. That offense is going to be somewhat at full strength just without Mike Evans. But I still have faith in Baker. I have faith in Todd Bowles to get his defense right. And I think this Tampa Bay team is still going to contend despite losing to Detroit. I'm not panicking at all in Tampa Bay. I just thought Detroit was the better team, and they proved that. So give me Tampa Bay at number 6. Coming in at number 5, I'm going to have the Philadelphia Eagles. They responded well, given that they were on a downhill trajectory, and they could have let everything, the sky could have fallen against the Minnesota Vikings, yet they responded well. Jalen Hurts responded well, and I'm never too harsh on Jalen Hurts. I thought it was the play calling as to why Philadelphia was still struggling, and they are still struggling to run the ball. And that's also contingent on play calling. I think that the Eagles are still very predictable when it comes to the running game. They're running the same exact run concepts, and teams are picking up on that. And then once they have success on one run, they repeat the same exact play call, and then the defense responds by guarding that play call. So I still think they have a Kevin Patulio problem, but this week they finally made an effort to get their best players the ball, and Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown, and Jalen Hurts was able to do that against the Brian Flores defense. So give Jalen Hurts credit for responding. Perfect passer rating. Philadelphia gets a huge win on the road, and then they come back home to play the Giants this week. They should win that game, and they're going to be 6-2, and they're going to be just fine. Philadelphia is going to be just fine. They figured it out, and they should respond this week once again against the Giants and get a win. So give me Philadelphia at number 5. They have the tiebreaker over Tampa because they beat them head-to-head in week 4. So that's why I have the Eagles over the Bucs. And now coming in at number 4, I'm going to rise, finally, the Indianapolis Colts. They earned my respect this weekend, beating a team on the road as underdogs. And then everyone looks at that box score and they figure, how the hell were the Colts even underdogs against the Chargers? I had picked the Chargers because I thought Justin Herbert was going to win them the game in the fourth quarter. And I also said that I didn't think the Colts were capable of blowing out the Chargers, and they did just that. The scoreline was 38-24, but this game got ugly very, very early on, and Justin Herbert was playing catch-up the entire game. Yes, he threw for 400-something yards, but those were all empty calories because that was just him trying to get back in the game. The game was never close. Jonathan Taylor dominated. Daniel Jones took care of the football, made some great throws. So this Colts team deserves a lot of credit. Currently, they are playing like the best team in football, but I still don't think they are the best team in football because I need to see them prove it in the playoffs. But so far, they have done everything you possibly can so far to start the season to earn respect from people, and I believe they have done that finally. A lot of people have them at number 1 in their power rankings. I cannot put them at number 1 because I believe I'd take the 3 quarterbacks ahead of them that I have. I would take Patrick Mahomes, Jared Goff, and Matthew Stafford, and I'd take the Chiefs, Lions, and Rams today over the Indianapolis Colts. So I'm going to keep them at 4. They're playing outstanding football. They have the Titans this week. That's another layup. They have them at home. That should be a blowout. I believe the spread is 14.5 points. That's easy. Give me the Colts in that game. They're playing great football right now. They're running the ball. They're playing complementary football on the defensive side. They're going to look to make a trade at the trade deadline for a defensive player, which I believe they should. And this is their window right here this year to contend for a Super Bowl and contend with Kansas City. So I think right now in the AFC, it's really just the Chiefs and the Colts and then the Patriots and the Bills. But other than that, there's not really any other AFC teams that have been that impressive this season. So give credit to the Colts. They've looked outstanding. I'm going to have them at number 4. And now at number 3, I'm going to have the Los Angeles Rams. They are my Super Bowl pick in the NFC, and they're starting to play great football again. And if it wasn't for their special teams, they'd probably be 7-0 right now. They're playing outstanding. Matthew Stafford is playing outstanding. He's putting up ridiculous numbers in probably one of his last years in the NFL. He's playing probably his best football of his career. He's playing outstanding. Without Puka Nacua, this offense did not miss a beat, putting up 35 points in the Jags in London. Matthew Stafford is playing outstanding football. They're not running the ball as well as they used to, but it doesn't even matter because Stafford now has weapons. He has Devontae Adams. He's going to have Puka Nacua coming back off the bye, and this week they get a chance to rest, get healthy, get Puka Nacua back, and this Rams team is going to be rolling after the bye. And I love this Rams team. I think they are going to be a Super Bowl contender. However, I cannot have them above the Detroit Lions. We can have the Rams at 3 and the Lions at 2. I think Detroit is playing outstanding. They're back to being the Detroit Lions. They're 5-2, playing excellent football. They responded after an embarrassing loss to the Chiefs, coming back at home, playing a red-hot Tampa Bay team, and embarrassing them on Monday Night Football. Jahmyr Gibbs is one of the best backs in all of football. And then Jared Goff is playing great off play action, finding Amon-Ra St. Brown. They still have, I think, the best offensive skill position players in the league. The Lions are still a top 2 team in the league, right behind Kansas City. I'm going to have the Lions at 2 and then the Chiefs at number 1. Kansas City has played outstanding football ever since week 3 against the Giants. Patrick Mahomes is playing like the league MVP. He is the front runner for league MVP. This team is favored to win everything. They're favored to win the Super Bowl. They're favored to win the AFC West and the AFC. And Patrick Mahomes is favored to win MVP, and rightfully so. This offense is back to being the light show with Rashee Rice back, 2 touchdowns in his debut. You still have Xavier Worthy, still have Travis Kelce. You have role players. Now you have this rookie Brashad Smith out of the backfield who's playing great football. They're using him in the receiving game. He's an explosive running back. And on the defensive side of the ball, you have Steve Spagnuolo, the best defensive coordinator in all of football. This Chiefs team is the best team in the league, and I don't think it's close at all. So that is going to be it for my power rankings, and I will see you guys next time for when I release my Week 8 picks, which should be tomorrow.